So VX Technologies is a startup tech company. We are building solutions for specific needs we think globally, and our solutions are purely based or built on BSV Blockchain, right? And the need we're trying to address is to bring records to the unrecorded, right? I think that is overall what we're really trying to do. But we are focusing in two sectors, particularly where I'm playing, which is the African continent. We're focusing on the health sector and the education sector. So we're really just using the technology to bring sovereignty of the records to the owners of the information. When we started our company a couple of years ago, it was really on the background of COVID-19 vaccinations, but just the whole platform can now or has now been used to expand into other areas. So for example, in South Africa, as you would know, it's one of the countries where the government has issued COVID-19 vaccination mandates, right? They're trying to get the citizens to get vaccinated against COVID-19. It's primarily because we have a health system that cannot cope with large numbers of people that get extremely sick from COVID. So if the scientists are saying to us that vaccination is a good way of preventing extreme disease from COVID, then the government has decided to take heed and encourage the citizens to get vaccinated. Now the question you then have is, how do you manage that somebody has been vaccinated? Because if you are issuing a policy position as a government to say, Citizen X, you will be able to access this particular venue only provided that you can show that you are vaccinated, because this is a public health issue and we're trying to protect other citizens against this menace of a virus. And that's where the power of the blockchain comes in. Because as you can imagine, we're dealing with a whole lot of data that needs to be processed very, very quickly. But we are also dealing with data that needs to be managed using very affordable solutions, right? We cannot go and be bringing this kind of solution to African countries, and it is very, very expensive. So for me, the blockchain is just a platform that the clever technical people that are supporting me are using to give me a solution that I believe is required by our governments, right? So, as I described, here we have a problem where for the first time in living history, we are dealing with health records that need to be presented to non-health professionals. Health records, by their very nature, have to be private. The privacy thereof is sacrosanct. But now we have a scenario because of the pandemic where we are suddenly having to use, to bring people that are not qualified to be handling this kind of data. So that is the problem statement I presented to the technical team that supports me. We are saying the blockchain solutions, such as the ones that we have developed, can help countries such as those, where you would just have a standard format by which all of these vaccination verifications can be done across the borders without adding extra load to the workers that are managing those ports of entry, without adding an extra burden of having to now confirm the trustworthiness of whatever product is presented. So what is happening currently in Southern Africa, at least, is that you have the different countries having decided on different solutions, right? So you have the Kingdom of Lesotho, which is right in the middle of South Africa. They have their own system of doing this. Botswana is doing something different. Zimbabwe is doing something different. So imagine yourself having to manage those border posts. The South African government is now faced with the burden of having to figure out how to prove the authenticity of all these documents that are being presented. So this is where we're seeing the solutions such as this, blockchain type solutions being very, very important in helping African countries manage through that kind of, data overload. Firstly, that is, you have lots of data that you're going to have to be dealing with. You have to verify it, right? And that has to bring a whole lot of burden in terms of the work that your civil servants have to deal with. So ours is to bring simple solutions, not only in how they get operated, but also in how they are priced. Don't bring extra burden to the system. That is my objective always. So every time I present potential areas where we can verify, because our company is called VX Technologies. VX stands for verified for X. What is your X? If somebody is making money out of my data, surely I should be getting a piece of that action, right? And this is exactly fundamentally what we call data sovereignty. Ownership of your data is fundamental to everything that VX Technologies is trying to do. We put in those records in the hands of the owners. And by so doing, we are allowing the owners to decide how and when to share the records. That is this peer-to-peer transfer of data that we hear about, especially in the crypto space. But that is what I understand to be the basis of blockchain technology. And that's how we are using it. I feel that we have a very unique burden on the African continent as professionals that are in this particular space of this technology, which is to educate our people about the value of data.